Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I'm so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 137th episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and this week we're going to talk all about Discovery Cove in Orlando, Florida. So last week, if you missed our episode where we talked with Fishing Bear Alaska, you definitely want to go back and listen to that because we're going from Alaska to the Sunshine State today. So, Discovery Cove, what is it? We talked about where it is. It's in Orlando, Florida. It is SeaWorld's immersive, all-inclusive theme park. Now, my family and I just went for the first time ever, and I had heard amazing things. I mean, it was voted best theme park in Orlando by USA Today, and we're talking like that includes Disney and Universal, all of them, and it was voted number one. And it's been there since July 1st. Of 2000. So it's been around for 25 years or almost 25 years. And my first time to ever go was just a couple of weeks ago. So what can you do there? Why did we decide to go? And would I recommend it? Okay. So I had been told for years that if you're an animal lover, marine biology lover, like if you love marine life, that it is the place to go. And I have been to SeaWorld multiple times, but I knew that Discovery Cove was going to be something different. And I wanted to wait until my boys were a little older to appreciate it. And one of the reasons I also wanted to wait is because you can swim with dolphins, but there is an age minimum, and that's 6 years old. Well, London is now 12, almost 13, and Christian is 8. So age-wise, I was like, okay, they're going to be perfect to be able to do anything that they wanted to do except for swim with sharks. If you wanted to swim with sharks, you have to be 16. So that's fine because I was skipping that anyways. So it is a very small, intimate theme park. And when I say all-inclusive, it is all-inclusive in that your food is included. Your drinks are included. So soda and alcohol, beer and wine, you can upgrade to a premium cocktails package, or you can just have, waters, lemonades, sodas. They had an icy, smorgasbord of options, which was absolutely wonderful. We had pina colada ices. They were great. But your breakfast and your lunch, they have as unlimited, where you can just go up and it's like a cafeteria style, where you can buffet, where you can just pick out whatever you want. And before the park even opens, you can have breakfast. So we got this on a Black Friday sale. And when I had first heard about Discovery Cove, one of the things that I did hear was that it can be pretty pricey, that it was worth it. It was going to be 100% worth the investment, but that if you could catch it on a sale, that would be when you should book it. And there oftentimes will be sales from 30% to 40%, but they said if you can get one that's 50% off, you want to jump on that. And that's what happened. The Black Friday sale I was looking out for, and it was 50% off. And I was like, you know what? This is going to be a perfect opportunity to experience it. And so our entire package was 50% off, and we included in that was we got to swim with dolphins. Now, the extra thing that I added on is a mingle with the flamingos. So it was a flamingo mingle, and you could go in the habitat with the flamingos. It was first thing in the morning. You could feed them. You had experienced trainers, the animal handlers that were there to answer all the questions that you could have. Plus, they're going to tell you a lot about the animals. So this is great for your kids or your adults alike who love to know more about animals. So we saw, not only did we get to swim with and visit with the flamingos and dolphins, but we also were around tropical fish where we could snorkel, stingrays, up close animal encounters with otters and monkeys, which are marmosets, and there were sharks. And again, there is an age minimum for the sharks to actually be in there with them. But you could do the sea trek where you have the helmet on top of your head where you're going under and walking on the bottom. And so that's another thing that you could add on. But there were so many things included. So I talked about the food, the swimming with dolphins, the snorkeling. So including your gear, your snorkel gear was included, but you also had wetsuits that were included, or you could have vest, which we decided after squeezing into a wetsuit, the vest were very appealing. So you could just have your swimsuit on and add a vest, and then you were good to go. Also, the pools there, you had saltwater and freshwater. They were heated to 80 degrees year round. So this is something that you don't have to just do in the summer. We went in February. Now, we got lucky. It was an amazingly beautiful day. I think it was 82 degrees and sunny. The pools were heated to 80, except for where you were snorkeling. Where you were snorkeling, it was a little bit cooler. I believe it was maybe 72 degrees. But again, you could have wetsuits on, and that would be more comfortable because that's where you could swim with the tropical fish, snorkel, see the stingrays up close and personal. Don't worry, they did not have barbs on them. But also, they had what they called it was a winding river. So it was like a lazy river on steroids. It was incredible. You went through this beautiful cave. There were waterfalls. You could go right by where the otters and the marmosets were. They have like an island where you could hop off the lazy river and detour into their habitat. You also got to go into an aviary. So this is where you could hand feed tropical birds. And the way you got into the aviary was that you went through a waterfall. So that way the birds could not leave that area. They could still fly around and you could feed them, you could see them, you could ask questions, but they could not leave because there was a waterfall on each side. So you had to go under or through the waterfall. I enjoyed it. London, my 12-year-old, enjoyed it. Christian did not like going under the waterfall. So he did it once and that was good enough for him. You also had included lockers. So you could lock up all your things and not have to pay extra for it. So when I say all-inclusive, like you did not get nickel and dimed like you normally would. Your gratuities were included. Your parking was included. It's also a certified autism center. So this is when I say that it is a great place for the whole family, even if you have kids that were under 6. And I saw a lot of small children there and some school groups were there, but it didn't feel crowded. I want to clarify that too. It didn't feel crowded because they have a max capacity of 1,300 people a day that are allowed to come. So we didn't wait in line. We had a timed swim with our dolphins that's assigned the day of, but it does book up because you have this cap. So your reservation could be shifted up to 48 hours prior. So while I really recommend booking in advance because it's going to book up, especially your peak travel time, you can shift the dates. If you see that there's going to be inclement weather coming in, looks like heavy, rainstorms or, thunderstorms, you can shift it. If you're going to be there for the week and you're like, this day doesn't look good, you can call and be able to adjust those dates. So what we absolutely loved about it was all the different activities that we could do. And so we started with the flamingos, then we went snorkeling, and it's really at your own pace. You could also enjoy the big pool area where you had the waterfalls, and it was just very picturesque. I have lots of pictures on our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate, Whimsical Destinations. But if I had known what all it was going to include and how magical this day was going to be, I would have gone years ago. I really would have. And my husband, Logan, looked at me at one point where we were in the lazy river, the winding river. He said, why have we not come here before? And I was like, because I didn't realize how incredible it was. So if you have an extra day and you're trying to decide, do I want to add a day at Universal? Do I want to add a day at Disney? We're going down to Port Canaveral for a cruise because that's what we were doing. Then I encourage you, add on a day at Discovery Cove, especially if you love sea life. It'll be an adventure that you'll be so grateful you did. Well, that's all the time we have for this week at Talk Travel with Heather Tate. Wherever you go and whatever you do, remember, life is a great adventure. We get one shot at this, so take the trip, make those memories. You won't regret it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.